Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Fergus Ewing is not giving Humza Yousaf an easy time of it. He's written to the First Minister and inquired as to when the A9 will be duelled. He's pushing for all these demands for it to happen to actually happen. But of course he's not getting much luck because the First Minister doesn't care really, does he? Doesn't care about the north of Scotland. Anyone further north than Falkirk simply doesn't exist within that sort of central belt mentality that the SNP has. So Fergus is getting very frustrated. But he's saying that they had these rules of openness and transparency, and why can't the First Minister and the Transport Secretary, Fiona Hislop, actually be open and transparent and answer his damn questions? Nobody wants to. Nobody cares. It's almost as though they want the people of Scotland to stay in their 15-minute ghettos and not travel about. But we'll take a look at this, see what's going on, see why Fergus Ewing is getting so frustrated with all of those, that little coterie at the top. Here goes. So, Fergus Ewing piles pressure on Humza Yousaf as he demands the A9 sections go ahead. This is the whole duelling thing where they had, I think it's 11 sections. They've only managed to duel 2 of them, and it's taken them about 10 years to do that. At that rate of advance, they won't be finished until about the 23rd century. But of course, it's the Greens, really, who are the problem. It's not the SNP in this case. It's not Humza Yousaf. Well, not directly. It's because the Greens are anti-car, they're anti-growth, they don't want people to be able to travel easily. And of course, Humza Yousaf, the Ken doll of Scottish politics, doesn't have the balls to tell them to shut up and push ahead instead with duelling this very dangerous road. Anyway, pressure on the Scottish Government is mounting from within, as a Nat MSP, Fergus Ewing, pushes for transparency and immediate action on more than one section of this dangerous Highland road. I've got to be honest, I've been up and down it myself God knows how many times. It's a wonderful road. I remember staying at... We went and found a pub in Kingussie. There was a problem on the road. There was a crash or something. There was a huge tailback, and we were just coming into Kingussie, and we went up into that and found a bar, and that was it. We were done then. Had to book in, had to stay the night. That was horrible, honestly. No, it wasn't. It was lovely. Anyway, Fergus Ewing has written to the SNP's Transport Minister with calls for development on the A9 road. It's to begin with to begin immediately, rather. As he describes the dwindling reputation of the party in the Highlands. Well, of course it is. The people up there in the the Highlands and Islands and that are looking at the SNP with increasing doubt because the SNP don't even remember that they exist. They're just non-existent to the SNP. It's only that central belt that matters to them. His demands follow years of outrage over the number of fatalities on this dangerous road, especially on the busy parts, which often ends up as being one lane each way. He warns the party faces a crisis in the region following an admission earlier this year that the 2025 deadline was unachievable, with the project seemingly kicked into the long grass. It won't be achieved, possibly while Fergus Ewing is still alive, given his immense age. He's not that old. Anyway, Mr. Ewing, a known rebel within the party, particularly on the issue of the A9 and A96, which I think is actually the A96 probably worse than the A9, expressed his concerns once again. And he said in a letter to Fiona Hislop, the sneering Cruella, really, isn't she? She's like that octopus in The Little Mermaid, all tentacles in everywhere, but with a real perma sneer on her face. That's the attitude she has to the Scottish people, I suppose. Anyway, he said that such is the depth of scepticism in the Highlands now, as a result of the broken Scottish Government's serial promises that action must be taken. But of course, no action will be taken. She's not capable of doing it. She's another one of those that have been over-promoted into a job she's quite incapable of doing, and that she has zero interest in doing, as well as zero ability. She just literally doesn't know what she's doing. Anyway, the Inverness and Nairn SNP, MSP, God, that's a lot of letters, aren't they, is demanding that the Tay crossing at, good Lord, Ballinluig, I'm going to say with, it might not be, correct my spelling, my pronunciation please, at Killiecrankie, the Glengarry, Dalwhinnie and the Dalwhinnie Crubenmore, totalling 21 miles of road, moves immediately to tender. Locals are entitled to an explanation, while blame has landed at the feet of the anti-car Greens, which I mentioned right at the beginning of this piece. Anyway, he recalls a statement from Miss Hislop's predecessor, writing, "I remind you that your predecessor but one, Jenny Gilruth, another one, serial failure, promised that the whole procurement process will be concluded and a decision made this year. Instead," he says, "I learned from your business that no decision is now expected until next July at the earliest. A delay of an extra 7 months. Well, 8 months now, really, isn't it? This is another serious setback, and unfortunate that this information about slippage was not shared voluntarily with Parliament. Share? Open? Truth? Nay, not the SNP. They hide everything, especially when they've screwed up things as badly as they have." Anyway, First Minister Humza Yousaf issued a cast iron promise, which we know to be a lie, because everything he says is a lie, to duel the A9. Mr Ewing called on this to be delivered and suggested that more than one section of the road get underway, while stressing the need for timeliness. Sorry, I misread that. Timelines. Had it been one more S, it would have been timeliness. But hey, you know, reading is hard. Anyway, he wrote, "Whatever mode is used, the vital element is that your statement does make a cast iron commitment to go to procurement on all 4 sections and to specify when that will happen in each case. For the avoidance of doubt, I am not suggesting that that means all 4 must be done at the same time for practical reasons. That may not be possible. It would mean the complete closure of the A9. He says, however, unlike in the past, where only one section was done at a time, there's no reason why there could not be, for example, 2 sections going to procurement at a time. What is important is that clear time commitments are given as to when and how the work will be carried out for each one of those 4 sections." And he's quite right, it needs to happen. It's an awful road. I mean, it's a lovely road when you're driving it and you're looking and it's beautiful, but it's an awful road in terms of driving, and there's so many times that there's accidents, there's hold-ups, all sorts of problems. It's very limited in overtaking ability. I remember trying to get past an HGV at one point, and every time I tried to get past this HGV, there's another bloody car coming the other way. It was almost like they're out to get me. I eventually got past it, but it was like whoosh. I had to go, and I really had to floor it. Anyway, the Highland MSP echoed concern from the region, where communities are still unclear about the status of the road. Well, I can tell you, awful. That's the status. Bloody awful. He says, "Can you please now provide such an explanation? There has now been 2 full years in which to do this. Is the failure because of lack of funds or lack of a worked out strategy, or both?" He says, "I think the public is entitled to this detailed explanation because the 2-year delay is a very serious further failure." Well, what do you expect? Failure and the SNP really do go hand in hand. There is nothing else out there except for them to fail. I mean, it really does have. It needs a statement. I think it needs a statement first of all, and then it actually needs commitment to go ahead. Now he's saying you could do 2 sections, so that's fine. You do sections 1 and 3 now, and 2 and 4 later, or at least get 1 done, and ease part of the problem. Every bit that you get done is an easement, and it just helps the road become a major arterial road. It is an arterial road, but it needs to be up to snuff. It needs to be a good enough road that you're not going to get those kind of problems. Anyway, well done, Fergus. Push it point. Make the 96, make the A96, that is, dual as well. Get that one sorted, because that is a dog of a job from Inverness to Aberdeen. It's not one I'd wish on my worst enemy. Apart from, of course, well, there's a little cafe in Nairn that we use, which is very nice. But anyway, the Crake. So anyway, there we go. So well done, Fergus. Push it on. I'll come up. We'll round off the video. The A9 has needed duelling for years, and the SNP have said that they'll be doing it for years. But that's all they've done. Said they were going to be doing it. They haven't actually done very much about it at all. 11 sections, 2 duelled, and the rest of it just left to rot. Promises, and all of them broken. When Humza Yousaf gives his word, it is meaningless, because everything that leaves his mouth is a lie. Nobody believes him. I don't think Fergus does either. And of course that is why he's pushing it. Anyway, we'll finish there. Thank you very much for watching this. Let's keep an eye on this and see if that road ever does get duelled fully in Fergus's lifetime. I suspect not. Or even my lifetime. I suspect not. Anyway, till next time, stay safe, stay well, and let's fingers crossed that the road one day will stop killing people. Till then, goodbye.